You ready?
Yeah.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the Ugly Goblin. We're changing up the formula of videos this week because it is the month of the spooky season. And so for this video, myself and my fiance are going to be drawing some monsters from memories. Monsters that you have suggested to us over on Discord, along with trying to answer as many of the questions as we can that we've been given by you guys while we draw. So, would you like to introduce yourself? Because this is the first time you're being viewed by an audience on Discord.
That's true.
On YouTube.
Hi, my name is Rose. Some of you might recognize me from Discord as Rose the Admin Goblin. And some of you might recognize me from some of the YouTube videos as the booming voice disrupting the video in the background sometimes.
Just giggling
Lovingly.
most of the time. Lovingly in the background. To start off, very fittingly, we're going to be drawing a goblin, which was suggested by who said a goblin, of course. So we've got to start with the goblin to warm up. Have to. 100%.
The first question we have is from Patreon, from Gnooch and AJ. Both of them asked, how did we two meet?
We met each other over the interwebs. You liked one of my posts, which was a D&D post on Instagram.
Beautiful drawing of a D&D character.
Oh yeah, he's one of my favorite NPCs of all time. He's called Zavion, or Xavier. He is an elf with a Scottish accent, and he's this magical being, very, very powerful. He's known as a spell weaver, and he's the Watcher of the Veil. So he's a protector of one of the 6 realms of Gostar. So that's him. He's a really lovely character. And I drew a picture of him freaking out, kind of raging. I used to be a graphic designer, but now I am a YouTuber. I will admit, Rose, far better artist than I am. She's an incredible artist. And if anyone wants any commission pieces, you should go check her out on Instagram. I'll put all the details for Rose, the description below. Rose. I edit that out.
It's fine.
I'll just bleep that out.
It's fine, I don't mind. Rose isn't my real name.
I'll insert Rose here. So I'll put that in. Do you wanna add to that?
Yeah, so I saw that beautiful drawing of yours on Instagram. I liked it, and almost immediately after you sent me a message, like, hey girl, what's up?
I don't think I was like...
No, you were complimenting my art, and you were asking if I played D&D, and I said, I do play D&D. You were very bold, and you just asked, do you want to play with us? Me, being the crazy person I am, who would never have guessed I would say yes to something like that.
Yeah, I was very surprised.
I would never play with strangers.
Yeah,
but
I was like, why do you want to play with us?
I'll play with you, and then that's just...
It's the level of my charisma. I've maxed out my charisma score, and so was that true? Is that the truth to that, or not? Really?
Yeah.
You're just saying that to make me feel better?
No.
Yeah, and then we had a call. I remember we had a call where I was filling you in on the world of Gostar, telling you all about the lore and stuff, so you could be caught up when we actually go into the game. What should I put on this guy's head? I feel like he should have a hat or something.
A wizard hat.
Of course.
Duh.
Doi. I remember I was really nervous. I'm never usually nervous about things, but I felt like it was very important. I was kind of like, obviously I found you very attractive as well. And then I remember I heard your voice and I was like, oh my gosh, she's got the prettiest voice in the world. I was very impressed with your voice. Yeah, is there anything else you want to add to that? And how the session went? Oh, you had terrible internet as well.
I had the worst internet.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so embarrassing. All of these new people I'd never met before, didn't know. And then I couldn't really roleplay. I couldn't hear what you were saying.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't respond. Like when I was speaking, people couldn't hear me. And it was like, I was mortified. I was like, damn.
There was a lot of times where, people ask you something or try to interact with your character, you just blank them.
Just said nothing.
Because I don't think
one
you
point
heard
you thought like maybe I was like I was doing it on purpose, like maybe
playing
I
off
was
a
like
standoffish character.
But no, I was screaming into my mic and nothing was happening.
So what other questions have we got while we're drawing goblins? Any other fitting?
All right, another question. Kind of in the
So
same,
who asked that last question?
Gnooch and AJ on Patreon.
Yeah, Gnooch and thank you very much as well. All the people who have sent in questions as well. And thank you, Gnooch and AJ, very, very much. It was really funny, actually, with that question. They both sent it pretty much at the same time. I thought it was very sweet. So it's lovely to open with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the same theme, we
Yeah.
have a question from YouTube from Nemochan1266 and Jimmy Rose on YouTube. So question of where are you from / where do you live?
Yeah, so that's an interesting one. So our address is, get your pen and paper out. We live in Finland. I'm not originally Finnish. I'm not Finnish. I don't know what I'm saying originally. I might be a Finnish eventually, but I am not Finnish. I am from Ireland. I am from the southwest of Ireland, down Kerry, boys. That was a very poor Kerry accent. But I'm from the southwest of Ireland. We met online, and so eventually we got on very well, like well enough to.
That's how well the D&D games went.
Yeah.
That he decided that we have to play in person and he has to be permanent.
Yeah, exactly. I moved over here. Rose was studying. I was a graphic designer. I was kind of flexible and everything else. So I was more than happy to move. I never saw myself staying in Ireland necessarily as well. I was planning to move. I've been to a lot of places. I've lived in Japan, a nice portion of time over in the States at different times for different reasons. I've traveled through India, been all over Europe and everything. I hadn't really found a place yet. There was always a lot of pros and cons to both places. Those are lovely things, those are negative things. But when I came to Finland, I was just so impressed as well by the country itself and how it does things, how it deals with things like the environmental awareness here is amazing. Setting up a business here was the easiest thing ever. Like, there's so much support here in Finland, and I love it. It was a place I was more than happy to move to after visiting quite a lot. I was like, yeah, I could live here. And we tried it out. We decided to get a place together. The rest is history. You are the loveliest company. Easiest person to get along with. My best friend in the whole world. And yeah, can't complain at all. Don't regret a thing.
It's been pretty great.
Yeah. No complaints at all.
No.
And now we have a dog.
Now we have a dog.
And we're engaged.
And we're engaged. That's crazy.
So there you go.
So yeah. So I am... Yes, of course, I'm originally from Finland, born and raised, and I'm here still.
Yeah. I don't give a damn. We might cut to you occasionally or add some other like cartoon dog in here whenever you bark. Would that be good? Yeah, you'd like that. Okay, cool. Well, we could do that for sure.
A question from Dwayne Bradway from Patreon.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Mm-hmm. What is your favorite homebrew monster? And can you draw it?
Ooh. So my favorite homebrew monster, it's a tough one. Like, a lot of the time as well, it's like, well, how homebrew does it have to be? Because so often I will take a monster stat block and just make it look completely different or change one or two tiny things. And I'm like, is that enough for it to be a homebrew monster entirely? But there is one that always comes to mind. I think it's a fan favorite between all my players and I. It's not quite a creature. It kind of is, but it's like an extension of something more. So it's a being called Ramshax.
I'm done.
You're done before me. Oh man. Well, okay. Well, how about we come back to Ramshax? You describe your favorite monster and you start drawing it.
Okay.
While you're describing it.
My favorite homebrew monster. The thing is, I've DM'd before, but I haven't been making monsters myself. This is sort of only had like one campaign going for me and then like a couple of little things, but it's also been a while now. If we're talking about your games.
What's one of your favorites from me then?
That's the thing, there's so many that it's really difficult to choose. Like we fought so many things. So we fought a living boat.
Yeah, that's probably my
Crazy.
favorite. I think yeah, actually now I want to change mine from Ramshax.
You want to talk about the boat?
I think no, you continue because I'm still drawing my goblin, but I'm going to change Ramshax to the boat. I think I've talked about Ramshax enough anyway. So the living boat is the one I'm going to go for. Yeah, but you keep going.
So there's been all kinds of gods we've fought before, gods and angels in our high level campaigns. But honestly, if we're talking about maybe one of the most impactful.
I'm done. I'm going to bring up this card. I'm going to try to draw and also hold you. The most impactful of my creatures.
Of your creatures would probably have to be Viola's mom. Viola is my character.
Yeah.
And So her mom, very early game. So we started off as children. We played as little 6-year-old kids with like, you know, level 0, no abilities, nothing really, 4 health kind of situation. Less than that. I think we had like 2 health each or something.
Yeah, no, yeah. You rolled like a d4 plus 1 or plus your constitution modifier or something.
You know, we weren't supposed to fight this thing at all, and we didn't. It was session 4, I think. We played 3 sessions as children, and Viola's mother, who had been sick previously, and I knew that she was sick. That was kind of in the backstory, like when we talked about, so what do you want to happen as you're a child, and then, you know, we'll play as your adults later on. Yeah,
so there's a big difference between just writing your backstory and being like, sorry, Blue. And being like, I had a tragic backstory, my parents passed away when I was younger, and then actually living that out as a player. I think that was a really interesting experience to like play out your backstory.
Yeah, I said that I think my parents have passed away from illness, and he was like, okay, cool. You're gonna have to live through that. You have to live through them being sick and dying. And I thought they were going to die. Instead, my character's mother, because of this illness, turned into this horrifying red blob slime monster that was trying to kill us.
This is like inspired a lot by Ghibli, this game. So
it was a horrible time because obviously we couldn't fight it, and then, you know, we had to do this whole role play of us being very young children going through this thing of like your mother turns into this hideous creature and attacks you. And so yeah, I think that's probably my favorite homebrew.
Favorite? Well, I'm glad it's your favorite because it was starting to sound like
it's so.
It was the worst time. What you?
No, but it was really impactful, and the fact is that, you know, there's still more of these blob monsters going around as the characters are now adults.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you know, it's integral for the campaign. Like it's a continuous threat that we have to face. But the first one we faced was someone who was like
kids.
As children, who was my mother.
Yeah. That's pretty fun. Yeah, I like that answer a lot.
I don't know how I'm gonna draw that. But
I'm very curious how you're gonna draw that.
It's looking a bit more silly than scary, but that's okay.
I mean, you know, I thought that was a really cool moment, and it's been fun as well throughout the campaign now, playing out additional parts of people's backstories, because there was a time skip too now. So we went from that childhood, and then we went to the future, but now we're filling in the blanks too as we go. One of the players, they're from the circus. We wrote up, we did like a whole renown system as well, like with all these different factions, and we kind of rolled to see what your renown would be with each of these different factions, and one of them worked in the circus for a long time, eventually left. So we rolled to see what they got, and they have like a -5. So like that means basically they're wanted by the circus. Like they want them dead or want them for whatever reason. So there's wanted posters
around, reward for their head.
So that was really interesting. And so we've played that out a few times with Wildemar's character. It's been really interesting as well.
Do you want to talk about the boat?
Yeah, so I'm still on the goblin. Okay, I think the goblin should just be done now.
He has to be done now.
I've started coloring it. I don't know why I've started coloring it.
Even after you were like, oh, the line art is so much.
Yeah,
like,
there we go. Beautiful little goblin. Yeah, what do you think? Oh my god! Jeez! Oh man, yeah, okay, you've got the trauma down, that's for sure. That's pretty horrendous.
I thought it kind of looked a bit funny.
It is funny too.
I don't know, like he's just melting a little bit, just.
So, with the living boat, there had been a joke with my players. It was like a running joke. I might have said this on some of the streams that I've run, but essentially, I, at one stage, showed my players the breakdown of Kingdom Hearts, like Kingdom Hearts in a nutshell, in like 30 minutes or something. In each game, every boss you fight in Kingdom Hearts, the main boss at the end of the game, they always turn into a boat. We've joked around how I've said like that campaign is so convoluted, it's so filled with like plot twists and everything else. So I've joked that it's like, oh, so like Kingdom Hearts sometimes. So my players were like, so when are we going to fight a boat? When's the boat battle? I was like, I gotta come up with an idea for a boat now. And I held on to that, and I was waiting for the perfect opportunity to turn something into a boat. At one stage, all of my players, they all went into like an illithid kingdom.
Yeah.
So the whole kingdom was like inside this giant organism. Basically, all the walls are made of flesh and bone and sinew and stuff. And they kind of like stitch together and splice together different creatures. And to prove yourselves as champions so that they would aid you in this war or whatever, you had to go into their coliseum and fight the best of their monsters. And they've taken loads of trophies from all these other people that were all hanging up and up on the ceiling, along with cannons and buildings and everything else. There was like loads of different boats as well, and fleets and airships and all that kind of stuff. They fought all these different creatures, very cool, like kind of Akira-like beings. Defeated them all. They all turned into these piles of goop. And then the leader, I should be drawing actually, the leader of this Illithids was a little kind of peeved that they destroyed their best monsters so quickly, and so he unshackled like the chains holding up one of the boat and caused this several ton boat, like 100-ton boat, to come crashing down the players. One of my players, who's a robot, has like a bazillion strength. They got a nat 20.
That was
Rojo.
so cool.
It was such a cool moment. He got a nat 20 on the strength check, athletic check or whatever. They caught the boat, saving, because everyone was quite low as well after that fight, saving the squishy wizard and also your who's basically your girlfriend in the game,
Batema. Future
Batema. And then all the like liquidy parts of the people they had just beat started to then fuse with this boat, and the like headpiece at the mast, the front of the ship, turned into like an amalgamation of all those characters, and the boat came to life. Its kind of mouth opened up, it gained eyes, and I had all this stat block made up. I had this one thing where it could shoot these beams or whatever, and one of my players was like, "Oh my god, has it got laser eyes?" And that wasn't like originally the thing. It was meant to be like cannons that it was firing, but 100% then it had laser eyes. It looks way cooler. I'm actually gonna put the original art here as well. Like just to fill in, to replace this right now. I'm actually good at art, guys, but while talking and everything else, this is quite tricky. So they were fighting two beings, basically, the front of the ship, and the ship then had laser eyes that it could use. It had like breath attacks. It was honestly one of the coolest creatures I've ever designed. I was just so pleased with it. It was awesome. I had such a good time. And finally got to throw a boat at my players, and you did a stellar job against it. It was a pretty satisfying fight, if I remember correctly.
I think it was like flying around, and it was very difficult.
Yeah, you could fly, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was amazing. Oh yeah, that's pretty nasty. Oh my god.
It just looks like it's like disintegrating.
Yeah.
But I suppose that was kind of...
Yeah, that's the vibe, I guess. Yeah. I also imagine it like kind of. I'm actually going to draw it here. Oh, Blue's got lipstick on everywhere.
Oh, so it still had the face intact.
Yeah, maybe.
What's our next monster?
What's our next monster is a good question. We were all caught up. There's so many here. So we got to draw them from memory. So I'm going to just roll a d20. Okay. Rolling. Wow. 13, Blue. Lucky 13. Abyssal Chickens, which is a tricky one to do.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen an abyssal chicken before.
I have an idea of what an abyssal chicken is like, maybe, but I might be completely wrong. I might be remembering it completely wrong. But that's the fun of this. It's definitely one I'm more unsure about.
Next question we have is from Ricardo Astley on YouTube.
Hello.
And the question is, what's your go-to character trope /class/race? And bonus question, how do you allocate your stats?
That's a tricky one. I think, again, as well, NPCs for me are very different. My comfort NPC is very different to my comfort character. Though, because I don't play characters much, I think you should probably take the lead on this one, because I think you'll do a better job. And I'm more interested as well in your answer, because I don't play characters as much. So, yeah, what's your go-to?
It used to be men exclusively. I only played male characters.
I remember that, yeah.
And I believe that Mira, the wizard that I played with you, was the first girl I'd ever played.
Yeah, no, I remember. Yeah, I remember that distinct. You were talking about it, like, and you told me about how you were interested. You wanted to try to play like a female character you never had.
Yeah,
so that's amazing.
Why.
Yeah.
It was. I think I just started with a dude, and then I made another dude, and then suddenly I was like, well, this is all I know how to do.
You're the one who
I was a little baby player with no previous TTRPG experience, so I was just like, okay, I just know how to make men, and we'll go with that for now.
And so, like, what kind of men typically did you play as?
Himbos.
Himbos.
Exclusively himbos. Stupid men.
Yeah.
That was the most fun thing for me.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'd be hot, sometimes they would be less hot.
I mean, it's ideal if they're hot, right?
Yeah, I mean, this kind of part is being a himbo. You know, you're attractive, but you're stupid.
Yeah.
It was just the most fun for me. Now though, I have played quite a few girls now.
Yeah.
And I enjoy it. And there's been a pattern that's been forming there that I realized just a while ago.
Opposite of himbo, funnily enough.
Opposite of himbo, very smart, ambitious women.
Yeah. What does that say
I don't know.
Your observation on life?
I play a wizard, really power-hungry wizard. I mean, I suppose that's like a classic wizard thing. A lot of them are like megalomaniacs, but she's...
Abria Iyengar plays wizards very well. If you haven't, check out the podcast, The Wizard, the Witch, and the Wild One. Incredible. It's insane, but the best depiction of wizards I've ever seen. Apart from your character, of course.
Of course. And then Viola, mentioned earlier, is also a high intelligence woman. Really ambitious, dedicated to her work, but she's an apothecary, which is a homebrew class made by the Dungeon Dudes, yes?
Yeah, it's
from the Draken book.
Yeah, absolutely incredible class.
Insane.
And that whole book is just so well made. They have made it for, like, they know players so well. They know DMs and players just to a T, and the content is just, it's flawless, better than anything you'll pick up. Best of the best, but such a fun class, and all the subclasses as well are equally as fun. You're playing like one focused specifically on like a kind of plague doctor, like focused on like just so nasty, like viruses and infections.
I make disease and I inflict it on people, and it's like the spells that she has are insane, though we are flavoring them as not spells. She's technically a non-magical healer.
Yeah, that's what you wanted to go for, and we looked for that for quite a while, and it's quite hard to find, but they've just nailed that down, and they've flavored it even in the class as well, like how you can play this without being magical.
Race-wise, goblins are great.
Yeah.
Tieflings are great, just from a design standpoint. The artist in me is always looking for interesting looking characters, and tieflings.
You usually you go with the more interesting design, less kind of like just classic humanoid and more unusual. Like the way you've drawn hobgoblins is perfect, and that's become like the canon design for hobgoblins in my world. The kind of greenish nose, they've got that suede skin.
Yeah, they've got like a real, like a seal.
Yeah, like a seal. That's a nice way to describe it.
Like a seal, like shiny little guys. And tusks, like half-orcs.
Yeah. This is what I think an abyssal chicken looks like. What are you doing?
Really cute. Just a really angry chicken with horns.
Nice. Hell yeah, that makes sense. I thought they had like no eyes or something. They're kind of like a xenomorph, almost like chicken.
That kind of makes more sense, and it's maybe, a bit more unique, but
I don't know. I'm not even sure if that's the actual design. Nice. So these are our images side by side, and now we're gonna have a look and actually
what's the real answer?
Oh, good lord.
Okay,
Ooh.
well yours is definitely closer.
Yeah, but also they have a that mouth is hideous. They look like they're so fleshy.
Is that their tail, but like a splits open?
Yeah, like there's like another mouth. Oh my god, they're
oh, those are the wings. You can see.
Oh, ooh, that's so good.
That's much cooler.
That's so spicy. Okay, yeah, next monster. We're gonna move on. So let's see, what have we got? Let's roll
a smaller dice.
Roll a d6 this time. Boop. It's a 4. 4 kobolds. You're gonna do like an old school kind of kobold where they're like, like dogs.
The thing is that I DM'd a game where a player played 3 kobolds in a trench coat. And that's all I can think of now. I just think of those 3 idiots.
There they are on the screen by the power of editing and magic. Okay, so if you're going to draw the lizardy ones, I think I'll try my hand at a dog kobold.
Dog kobold.
Should I have answered what my favorite type of character is?
You should have actually. Yeah, that's true.
I am typically drawn to... and this is probably actually down to me not playing as a character enough, because I do understand now that this actually isn't a great idea for a character with a party. I like to play assholes, and they're not fun to have in a party. But I like
not like murder hobos, but who just really mean.
Just kind of like a bit stuck up, like your classic like Cusco character. I like to make a character who would have a redemption arc and learn how to be a better person, but I never get that far because I don't get to play for very long, and so
we're just stuck with the asshole.
You're just so stuck with the asshole and just that bad taste in your mouth. So yeah, usually some kind of royalty, just very full of themselves, quite attractive usually as well, but like kind of like sickly, so like not in like a nice way where it's just kind of like tacky, kind of gorgeous, like, you know, like Prince Charming kind of vibes, or Giga Chad as my recent characters. I'm literally playing a Giga Chad version myself, which has been very fun, who is not an asshole character. They're just
He's very nice.
Yeah, he's just meant to be a cool dude. And I've played, like, it's either really assholey or way too much of a team player, like, to the point where it's almost kind of like, all right, can you actually be a little more selfish here? I played an angel. I played a fallen angel who was just, I was trying to play someone who had no sin whatsoever. So anytime the players were down, he was a healer. Anytime the players were down a character, he would go and heal them and be like, okay, get out of here before they knock you unconscious again. Which is, again, not fun for players. But I think I've learned a bit. Like, I really enjoy playing in your game as Sapphire. Big himbo. Furbolg, yeah. Big himbo Furbolg. He's a sailor. A very sassy sailor. Very nice guy. Just a chill guy who wants to have a kind of peaceful life. Again, you can't always be a peaceful character as well. You've got to be ready to get your hands dirty too if you want to play a character. I've learned a lot from being both players, and also just I've evolved a lot as a DM. And I think if I was to make another character, I would want to make someone who's just nice. If I was to make a character, the thing is, well, whenever I play a character, I want to try something new. I want to play a different class that I've played before. I want to play a different race that I've played before. I want something all new and fresh, because I don't get to do it very often, so I don't want to play like something I've done already. If I was to make a new character, I think I want to play someone who's very good at what they do. I want to kind of min-max, and I want to just be really helpful, and like maybe I'll go for like an older character. Maybe I'll actually go for one of my classic NPC characters. My comfort NPC is someone very scrunkly and old, typically, often a goblin or something along those lines. And that's my go-to. Just a bit like, hello, how's it going? I'm just a simple trader here to sell you some grapes. And usually kind of a bit useless, but no real badness in them. Just a little weird, maybe a bit uncomfortable to be around. Overall, just a funny, jokey kind of character. You might be wondering what I'm drawing here, and I can draw good things. It's really hard to concentrate and talk. I'm very bad at multitasking, but yeah.
He's kind of cute.
Yeah, he's going to look like a dog.
He's going to be a dog, I swear.
He will be a dog, I swear. Look, ears. But I don't think kobolds have those kind of ears. I think they actually have the sticky up ears, so.
Oh, you can give him blue ears.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, next question. Also from Patreon, from Felix Longsword.
Hello, Felix Longsword. Lovely to hear from you.
How do you explain spell slots in the lore of D&D?
That's a good one. It's a really good one.
Big brain question.
And I can answer it. I have a very special way of working it all out. I worked it out quite a while back. And basically, there's explaining it lore-wise, but then there's also explaining it to my players. So the way I explain it to my players first, who don't know what spell slots are, because they're quite unintuitive, I think. I say basically spell slots are kind of like bullets, and the spells that you have are your guns, and so you only have a certain amount of bullets that you can put into guns. All the bullets are like universal, they can go into any gun, and so when you want to cast a spell, you've got to use one of your bullets, which is your spell slot. When you're out of bullets or spell slots, you can't cast any more spells. They're just objects that you hang on to. That's how I describe them anyway to people. But in terms of lore, because D&D used to be very, every spell that was cast used to basically be like wild magic. The way I kind of make sense of it and why there's spell slots now is that because it was so unstable, like the biggest part of becoming a wizard is learning how to cast spells safely. And so that's where spell slots are, and they are very safe ways to cast spells. You have to create the spell slot and then form the spell from that. And it's basically spell slots, and the reason why you can't cast a bazillion spells and you don't have like mana per se is because that is how the rules of either the universe that have been like re-established by wizards to add a kind of safety cap and stop wild magic getting in and interfering with spells that you cast. That's my ruling for it in my world.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And a few of your characters, like your wizard and Dahi in the game as well, who's a bard, a spell weaver as well. He's the new watcher of the veil. The pair of you have gotten to such a high tier of magic, you know how to break it now, and you know how to access. It's more fluid and it's more natural for you now that you know it so well. So I've allowed you to start using spell points as well, or mana.
And I've also got, I think I've got like 250 spell points in total. Or something insane like that. And there's also no cap of how many 9th level spells or like high level spells I could cast a day.
I miss that rule when looking at spell points.
So I have been blasting people. I'm casting invulnerability on myself. I'm casting 15-meter swarms on everything around me. I can't die.
And it's fitting as well. It's fitting for your characters that you can do all that. Like typically you can't do it with rules as written in the book with spell points, but it just makes sense because you're beyond 20th level at this point.
Yeah, we're like level 22? 22, I think.
Yeah, I think 22, 23, yeah. This is just not even my art style that I'm using, but this is...
Yeah, I was like, you're doing something entirely different. Like
in
comparison to the Goblin now. Like you're experimenting.
Yeah, I'm just having fun. This is kind of easier for me, I think, than Kobold.
Aww. Here's my guys.
Oh, that's so cute. That's way cuter.
No.
I mean, yeah, it's
yours is
way
adorable.
Adorable is maybe not the best word for it, but
well, he looks a bit rabbit, maybe.
Yeah, I want to go scrunkly. Like, he definitely lives in a cave. He's taken armor from some other unfortunate adventurer.
It's like one of your NPCs.
Scrunkly, yeah. I can't help but make scrunkly characters. Next monster, next question. Yeah, sounds good. Okay. A Troglodyte. Do you know how to draw a Troglodyte?
I've only ever heard it as an insult before. I didn't know it was like a real
Is it from
monster.
Byzantium? Stories from Byzantium or something like they're just like a horrible race of something nasty. But I know what they look like.
Do you know where they're from? Give me, because I have no idea. I have no idea what.
In like actual mythology or whatever.
No,
or
like where are they from in say like a D&D universe?
I think they're like from just nasty swampy water cave. They're like they live in caves.
I'm just thinking of like a weird like a Kuotoa kind of.
You're close enough.
Kind of. I don't know.
Do you want me to give you a hint?
No, it's okay.
They're like.
I guess
Okay. I
won't cheat, but.
Okay, I can give you a hint. So we're like working from the same thing.
Okay.
Okay, so they're kind of like buffer.
Big boy.
Big boys. Yeah, like I think they're still medium creatures. I don't think they're large, but they're buff. Yeah.
Big nasty boy.
Big nasty boy from swamp. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But I'm gonna draw something different.
Okay.
I have the image distinct in my mind. This one that's on the screen, I know exactly what it looks like from the monster manual. But I'm just gonna do a more fun interpretation of them.
Yeah. Gabriel's the one who actually knows all this stuff. He's the one who's read all the books that we have. He understands all like where these monsters are from, and I'm just here for the ride. From Mellow Sage 4091 on YouTube. We have a question of what do you like to do when you get writer's block?
That's a good one. I like that a lot. It's tricky because, funnily enough, I don't want to be like... I actually don't get writer's block very often anymore. In fact, it's the opposite where I need to just chill because I have too many ideas all the time. And it's just about me trying to find the time to get them all out. And I think that's mainly due to the fact that I just keep creating. And I think that's a big help. Like when you stop, it's like anything. It's like a muscle or like a machine. If you stop using it, it gets rusty, it gets stiff. If you're constantly creating, you're constantly coming up with ideas and writing them down, then you're always going to have more and more ideas. It's kind of like it's a snowball effect. The more you write, the more you'll write and have ideas to write. In the past when I did get stuck, just absorbing more inspiration, like more media and stuff out there, things that inspire you. That's how I would get by. I would put on, if I'm trying to like come up with something for my game, I don't know where the story's going to go, I'd put on a YouTuber. A big one that I love going to is the Dungeon Dad. The creatures he creates always inspire me. Like that's why I had you fighting a giant planet, because every time, even if I don't think it's going to be relevant, the the video. I put it on. I'm like, every time I come away with amazing ideas, and I'm like, I need to somehow put this into my game. Always come away inspired. Yeah, that's what I would advise, is just consuming as much media that you like as possible, and just write down the ideas that you have. Any ideas that you have in your mind, just write them down. Do something with them. Because if you just sit on the idea and never do anything with it, it won't develop into anything. A lot of the time, I always know, I've come to realize now, like, you know, I'm struggling with something in my head and I'm trying to like figure it out before I start writing anything down. But I've learned, like, as soon as I start writing, it just comes to me anyway. So it's the actual starting of a process that is, I think, the biggest thing for writer's block. If you just start writing, if you just start doing, it'll come to you anyway. You've just got to trust yourself that you can get there yourself. And that's my advice. How about you? You've struggled with it recently a little bit. So what would your advice as an artist?
Yeah, writer's block is weird because, I mean, I suppose I have that with my campaign. I should get back to it. I really should. And I should just rewrite some of the things that I had planned originally. But that's a whole rabbit hole to get into. But I do get artist block quite often. Or I feel frustrated with my art, or like I don't feel motivated, or none of the ideas I have really stick. Like I have plenty of material to work with, but it doesn't feel like any of them are something that I want to just like really sit down with and concentrate and finish. But what usually helps me is, well, inspiration. I do different things to find that one thing that does stick, that I really want to make. So for me, often it's music. I never draw without music, really, except right now. And so a lot of songs I find very inspiring. With D&D characters, obviously, you can always just default back into drawing your character. And sometimes that helps. Just drawing something, and it'll inspire you to draw something else. One thing that I've been doing recently, because I have felt so uninspired with my art, is I just start taking requests, which I don't usually do. I do commission works, but I've just been asking friends and mutuals for their characters, and I'll just draw them. Just make whatever I want to make. It's not going to be a polished thing because it's not a commission. They're not paying me for it, so I'm just making something. And it's pretty helpful. I
think that's a big thing as well, not being precious. Like, it doesn't have to come out perfect, whatever you're creating. As long as you're getting it out and constantly getting ideas out, you're going to be fine. That's why I never really spend, like, unlike you render stuff. You heavily render your artwork. I can't deal with that. I need to get the idea out and move on to the next idea. And sometimes that's the best. Well, that works for me anyway, and it keeps up that momentum. I'm not getting caught on like anatomy or like how is this going to work like realistically. I just put it in my games. That's another thing. If the idea is cool, I'll put it in my games. I can work it out later. I can trust myself to make it make sense later. But if I can get the idea out there, and then I can start developing it. But I need to write it down first, or I need to draw it, or whatever. I should give my pupils.
Oh god.
Or
no, it's
pupils.
not. It's actually not. It's not too far.
Oh, you're doing pretty. Oh, I love your Troglodyte. Oh my god, this is my favorite one so far.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. Clearly, I missed the Sidness.
No, well,
of the face,
they do have a little bit of a Sid vibe. But I think I've embellished the Sid vibe a little bit. I don't think they're actually.
More Sid.
Yeah, I don't think they're actually very Sid.
But we got the teeth and like the weird build.
Yeah, I'll show you them on screen now. This is the image I recalled.
Right. Okay.
I think you nailed it.
I'm just missing the spikes and the tail. Oh, a tail makes so much sense though.
Yeah, I wanted to go more for like a Sid vibe. Because I wanted to go for like nastier, kind of little, again, skrunklier.
Skrunklier.
But they are just kind of like sea monster, kind of humans, whatever. All right, how many more will we do we think? We'll handpick one. I'll let you choose one. From the Discord. So
okay, I'll go purely based on vibes.
Okay.
Purely vibes.
I'm gonna read them out as we go, just so you know what's there. So, Zartan.
I have no idea. That sounds like some sort of.
That sounds like a spelljammer kind of creature.
That sounds like a devil.
Maybe.
A demon kind of.
Sounds like something from like Star Trek.
I'm
Zartan, the evil. Okay. Bagman.
He's Bagman.
It's okay. So he's from.
Bagman.
He's terrifying. He was in Do you remember the one shot I ran for you with Mira in the haunted house? They retreated into their bag of holding to escape the enemy.
They got stuck in there.
They're stuck in bags of holding. But I think the way the lore works is like all the dimensions that are in bags of holding are all connected. So he moves from bags of holding to bags of holding and can come out of your bag of holding at night or just steal stuff. So this is the person who...
see it.
Bagman. Let's go.
Bagman.
Bagman. Perfect for Halloween. If you haven't used a Bagman yet in your games, that's your job as a DM. Add Bagman to your game for Halloween. Freak the hell out of your players. Just a guy coming out of their bag of holding who's been trapped in another bag of holding and can't get out.
Okay.
And just lives there now.
Alright. We'll do a question to go with the Bagman.
Yeah.
Alright. Next one on the list is from Nico Mac on YouTube.
Hello, Nico Mac.
So, how long have you been designing systems for TTRPGs? And what's your favorite edition of D&D? These are mostly for you. I don't design systems.
I'm going to answer the last one first, because it's a shorter question.
Yeah.
So I started with the 4th edition. I loved it, fell in love with D&D. I didn't know D&D. I kind of knew something like D&D existed for a long time and been basically playing D&D up until that point. Got the big red box for 4th edition, loved it. Then come university at one stage, my friend wanted me to run a D&D game. And I was like, yeah, cool, we'll run 4th edition because that's the one I knew. And he told me about 5th edition. And I was like, what? A little bit. I was first reluctant because it was something new. Then I started looking at 5th edition. I was like, oh my God, this is so much easier than 4th edition. So much more digestible. There was much more focus on roleplay, I felt, which I loved. People were really squishy at level 1, which was brilliant. And 5th edition is my favorite. It's like... For me, it's like the Skyrim of all the editions. It's just so modular because you can add all these mods, you can change it. It's simple, it's easy to get into, it's easy to teach to people. It's just friendly all around. And obviously, it doesn't have as much detail or crunch as maybe 3.5 or whatever. But I don't know, I just really like it. It's my comfort version. And I've been looking at a few other versions recently as well, and I've been looking at 1st edition in particular for reasons, and I've played similar games that are based off of 1st edition, and they all have their place. They all tell different kind of stories, but I feel like 5th edition for me, I can tell almost any story with 5th edition. So that's my answer for that. What's our creature again? Oh yeah, Bagman.
Your brain erased it, like, not Bagman. Please.
Yeah, no,
anything but Bagman.
As for making systems, like, I've been making systems since I was a kid. I have these memories of when I was in... my family and I, we went around the world for 7 months when I was a child. So there's big car journeys and stuff that we go on. And I used to invent games for us in the car. Like my... I'd be sitting near the window seat and I'd take one of my siblings' little stuffed animals or something, and I would start playing with them on the window seat and give them a little piece of paper that had like buttons from like a PlayStation or something, and they would have to shout out the button that they were pressing as they would go through these levels. So like I'd have another monster come along and they'd have to jump on his head like Mario or something, and we'd click jump at the right time, and I'd try to like have the distance for the jump accurate every time, like the same distance every time, so they'd have to time it right. But before that as well, like my introduction to D&D was with my uncle, who used to tell us the gunslinger stories from the Dark Tower, but we got to pick whatever character we wanted, and he would add them into the actual story. And so I love that. That was my first kind of like taste for D&D, but we couldn't choose like what we did. He just told the story. And at one point, he didn't want to keep doing them every time. He wanted to hang out with the adults as well. So I took over for a little bit and telling those stories. But I was like, well, what if you guys can actually choose to do things in the story? And that was my first version of playing D&D. Essentially, it was telling these stories out in the tent. I remember, and ever since I've adored creating systems. Like when I discovered my first kind of like indication that D&D was a thing was when I used to read the Yu-Gi-Oh! Zero manga. I think it's Bakura who invites everyone over and is like, hey, let's play this thing. I think he calls it Zorn or something. And it's basically D&D, but they're rolling D100s. And I didn't know how to get a D100, so I got just D6s. And I invited I painted up a map with like watercolors. We had these massive rolls of paper that I unrolled that cut off a section and just made this massive map, painted the whole landscape and kingdoms and everything on it. I'm going to invite my siblings up to my rooms to play this game, this kind of story I would tell. And I made up these little things with Play-Doh, and they were their little pieces that they moved around the map, and they dried out, and they kind of became like these solid objects as well. So I thought that was really cool, the way the Play-Doh dried out and actually turned into almost like ceramic pieces. And they would move around, do whatever missions and stuff like that. We'd roll D6s for things, like for them to succeed or whatever. And I made up rules there, like for a whole other system that I played my siblings. I can't remember them now, but yeah, it was very fun. So I've been doing it since I was, I don't know, like 6 or something. I love creating games and I love playing games. I feel like games are the best way to get to know someone. You're not anyone else when you're playing games. Like, I think you can't really hide who you are when you're playing games. You're kind of just like, you're so exposed and you really get to know the kind of people you're playing with when you play games. And it's just, they're so easy for me. I just love them. I think you get a really genuine experience with people when you play games with them.
The next question is from Bruno Infante from YouTube as well. Are you considering covering other TTRPGs like DC-20 or even Break?
Very good question. Well, the thing is as well, yeah, Break's right there. I just have it on display because I think it's the best thing ever. Yeah, I do want to eventually start covering other systems. I have a lot I still want to do with 5e right now, but 100% I do like the idea of making or like converting all the skill trees I have so that they can be applicable to other systems like DC-20, possibly even Break. That'd be crazy. It's still a long way off, but I definitely want to get there eventually. Thing is with the YouTube algorithm though as well, it does, you know, if you make anything that's not D&D related, it doesn't really do as well, unfortunately. But regardless, I definitely want to, if I'm doing like Kickstarter or something in the future, I definitely want to, you know, make the system so it's applicable to multiple systems rather than just D&D. But when that will be, I can't promise as of right now, but that is definitely something I want to cover, yeah.
In the same theme, we have a question from Don Brown, F3Y on YouTube. Would you consider developing your own TTRPG or publishing your books?
Yeah, that's the plan anyway. So what I want to do first number one, I want to get down to 3 skill trees. If I get down the roleplay skill tree, the combat skill tree, and the crafting skill tree, I'm pretty much sorted and I have a whole system in place that can be applied to D&D. Then I want to eventually, I will release all the content I've done so far for those classes, skill trees, magic items, everything else, into a book, into a source book that you can use for your games to make D&D classes. But before that, we're actually going to work on something to test the waters of Kickstarter, and we're going to try to make a mini Kickstarter where we're going to do one solely on cooking in D&D. I've done cooking mechanics already. There's a PDF, you can check it out, but I'm going to expand on that along with the cooking recipes and stuff for generic creature types. I'm also going to be developing individual monster parts. So I've taken all the different creature types and I've taken specific monsters from there. One example is like the goop, basically, from like a yellow ochre, and you can whisk it up and mix it with sugar to turn them into, and bake that, and it forms like yellow ochre meringues. So loads of ideas for that we're going to develop. You're going to do all the artwork for it, pretty much. I'm going to help with the artwork, and we're going to help with the writing together. But we're going to release a cookbook. Yeah, that's the plan. Eventually, it might be next year, probably, when we start to actually get it out there and start getting better development with it. But we've been working on it on the side. Yeah,
and then we'll see what happens afterwards.
See how Kickstarters go, like how the process of a Kickstarter goes and things. There's my Bagman.
What is he doing?
He's stealing from coins from like a little dwarf here.
Oh.
Sleeping.
He's a thieving Bagman.
Yeah. I don't know what he's going to spend it on, but yeah.
Maybe there are shops in the dimensions.
Ooh, that's scary. That's absolutely terrifying. Amazing anatomy as well. Jeez.
He's just a little funny guy. He wants to get out of the bag.
He wants to get out of the bag. Let me out of the bag.
Get me out of the bag.
So, are we going to do one more? Or do one more question before we leave it there, do you think?
We actually have 2 more questions.
Two more questions.
So
Okay,
let's do one more.
Let's do one more while we're doing it. Okay, I'll pick one. Let's see.
Long ass video.
Zartan. What we think of Zartan is. When you hear Zartan, what do you think of?
I think of some sort of like a demon,
Okay.
devil kind of situation, or
I actually think I know what it is.
or like a.
Might be wrong. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm just thinking of the last page of the Spelljammer Monster book. And I think it's that, but I don't know if it is.
I mean, it could definitely be some sort of like an astral creature.
Could go astral, but you're saying, what were you saying, demon-like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, Zartan just sounds like your random demon lord for some reason. That's Zartan,
That's
you
fair,
know?
that's fair. What do you think it is, Blue? I think you guys need to stop and play with me.
She's so small.
We'll play with you. Yeah,
She still has. Do you see the lipstick on her forehead?
Got lipstick on your forehead?
Oh, I don't think it shows up. Just a little bit.
You put lipstick on your forehead. Zartan it is.
Okay, that's my image. Some sort of like a demon lord situation.
Okay, I'm gonna draw this thing.
Spirit Fox 6066 on YouTube asks, when did you find your love for goblins and what do you love most about them?
And you know what? I always like goblins. I've always liked the classic monsters in D&D, and I always like the kind of weaker monsters and like to try to find ways to make the weaker monsters, more capable and stronger by playing them, in clever ways or whatever. But I think I really, really fell in love with goblins as I was falling in love with you. Because we
were goblins together.
Goblins together. Because I remember you said how much you like goblins, and I did as well. I did like them, but I wasn't like as into them as I am now. You made your character, and I wanted you to have some sort of NPC who was like to help you kind of like ease your way into the party. So you still have someone to chat to as well, even if you didn't know any of the party members. Mm-hmm. So I made your sidekick for your character, Bonk.
I remember Bonk.
And
Bonk served me well.
I had so much fun.
He was my butler. He was my butler.
Yeah, he was like, he carried all your guns and equipment around. Like, he had a giant bag on his back. I really love playing them. I love playing that skrunkly goblin. What about you? How about you?
My answer isn't nearly as cool. It's just goblins are cute. They're just these feral little creatures, and they can look like anything, and you can play any kind of goblin.
Yeah.
And I love the fact we've actually been talking about all the different kinds of goblins that are in your universe, and I really, really like that. It's not just they're just a goblin, and that's the only type of goblin there is. There's multiple types of goblins. There's the fey goblins that have tails.
Yeah.
Really cool. Love that. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
We've got the smart goblins.
Yeah, they're born with teeth. So this is taking a little bit out of. If any of you have watched or read, I should say, the Spiderwick books, goblins in the Spiderwick books aren't born with teeth, and so they steal teeth from other creatures. So you'll find them with bits of glass, like dog teeth, cat teeth. Sharp pointy rocks and stuff all jammed into their gums, and then the gums kind of heal around these things and that becomes their teeth. Classic rabid goblins in my world. They also stitch like leather and weld armor to their skin, very kind of Warhammer vibes. But every now and then you get an intelligence goblin.
Intelligence goblin.
Every now and then you get an intelligent goblin born from those, and most of the time they don't survive because they're born with teeth. And the goblins will rip them out of the goblin and just eat the other goblin because they kind of find them intimidating. These intelligent goblins, if they are let rise up and stuff, they can eventually outsmart the goblins. So they kill them while they're young usually. And they're also born with tails. There's the fey ones with massive ears, little round heads, much smaller than regular goblins.
Big ass eyes.
Like
Stitch.
Very like Stitch
face.
designs. Yeah. Then obviously hobgoblins. You've got the hobgoblin empire in Gostar. Bugbears. There's a great video you should watch by, what is the channel again? It'll be up here and it'll also be in the description. Go check out that video. They go into why we like goblins. When you go goblin mode, it's you not trying to like adhere or whatever to society. You're just being you, kind of unapologetically you, being a little messy, being a little dirty, just wearing a hoodie and like baggy pants and eating pizza and stuff while like sitting on the sofa like in a squat. There's great energy, I think, with a goblin, and I think there's a lot of freedom when you roleplay just to be silly. Bonus question. Okay.
Bonus question, and then we gotta finish our drawings. Same person, Spirit Fox 6066 on YouTube. What inspired you to make your systems and to create your own future game?
My worlds, I assume.
Yeah, I guess like Gostar and all the games you run in it, and which is all homebrew.
Yeah, it is all homebrew. I mean, the thing is, I've never really run many modules. The first module I ever ran was I don't know what I'm drawing. That's a Zorn. That's as far as I'm going with my Zorn. Or what are they called?
Zartan?
Oh no, Zartan, not Zorn. No, I'm joking. First ever game I ran that was an official game was the very first time I played D&D. You get like a little mini adventure that brings you up to second level, and then they kind of leave you go. And so I just started building my world from there. And I've not stopped homebrewing since. I've taken a few little mini adventures, but they don't stay as that module for long. So I just like making my own games. But they're a great way, when reading modules are a great way to learn how to build a module in an adventure as well.
That's what I should have done.
Yeah, I
just started a campaign and I had no idea what it was actually doing. I had no structure to it.
Yeah, the thing is, like, it really teaches you like how, like, for example, a great thing that I kind of learned early on was like, I don't do it as much anymore, but like combat was a great way to make like checkpoints, like in your story. You can like break up the chapters with combat. So when they get to this next combat, or after that combat concludes, that will conclude that part of the section, that part of the story. And that was a great way for me to start breaking up the chapters of my games. That's just a good beginner's tip, I guess. But you learn that through reading stuff. You learn how to make encounters by just reading how they're built. You learn how to structure your story, move people on with the story, learn how to direct people, learn how to get the beginning, middle, and end. And so yeah, reading modules is very, very good for that. I'm just not very good at running modules, really. I don't usually keep them as modules. And usually I get a gut module, I'm like, I like all this, I read it all, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna gut everything and reapply it to my own world so it better fits it.
Make it your own thing.
Yeah, and that I would encourage that to you to not. It's so easy to feel trapped with the module. Like, if I do this or that, do I like change it up too much, and does it break the game now? Like, can I not do certain aspects later on? Always best to read through the whole thing so you get a better sense of it, and then just go from there. Start as best you can to stick with the story, but if things go the other way, let it go in a different direction. That's my advice for that. Have you got any additional advice?
Nope.
No? Fair enough. What was the other part of that question? Like,
and systems.
And systems.
What inspired you to make systems?
What inspired me to make systems? I suppose for the classless system, I've always wanted to make a classless system. I've always been obsessed with the idea. Like, Skyrim is a great example of it. The fact that you can choose where you go. You're not limited by the story or the narrative that your class gives you, and all the prejudice that comes with it. Yeah, if I'm playing Skyrim and I'm like, oh, I think I'm going to become like more of an assassin now, so I'll start taking the stealth and I'll start taking the archery things. Or maybe I'm like, I just start picking loads of like herbs and stuff, and I'm like, oh, my guy is maybe slowly becoming an alchemist. I love that freedom that, as the story goes, you can go in whatever direction. You don't have that set path set out for you, because when you do choose a class, there's a set path that you will go down. Obviously it splits a little bit, but all the paths that you take are set by that class. There's nothing that says you can actually go this way a little bit and then come back and then dip over here and whatever. And sometimes, with multi-classing as well, sometimes you can dilute your path. Maybe you'll take a multi-class because it's more like, it makes sense for the story as well. And it's like, I want to start taking warlock stuff, but it doesn't work with my build at all. But I kind of feel like I should for story reasons, or maybe I won't because it's not optimal as well. But with this, it's like, you can just choose whatever you like. And I wanted to do something with that. I wanted to create that. I knew it would be a big challenge, and I kind of just said it in one of my videos, like, you could totally make a classless system with this. You know what? I'll put a classless system together. And I released that video. I was like, no, now I got to try to do that. And I guess subconsciously I must have set a goal for myself, because I was excited to do something like that. I wanted to do something like that for myself. It's also down to my wonderful patrons who give me the kind of confidence and courage to continue dedicating that much of my time to something like this. If I was just making YouTube videos, I probably wouldn't put out something like that. I put that much time into these crazy elaborate documents, because I felt like with Patreon, it's like you guys are supporting me to continue making this stuff. You like it a lot, so I want to keep making it for all of you. You give me the courage to continue making it and designing it and stuff. And yeah, I guess that's it in a nutshell.
I think that's it. That was our last question, last monster.
Can I see your Demon Lord?
Yeah. Demon Lord Zartan.
Very cool. So you went with Demon Lord. I went with like sci-fi egg.
Yes,
like what? Like evil. What's the character from Wall-E?
Oh,
Eva. Yeah, Eve.
Eve,
yeah, it's just like evil Eve, basically. So let's look him up. Let's see.
Let's see what is actually Zartan.
Zartan. Not what I thought.
No.
I've seen these before. I didn't know they're called Zaratans.
Way
like
off.
an elemental, right?
Way off.
Yeah, that's
a
cool.
big turtle.
Yeah, it's like
just a little guy.
Like what's Turtlewigs evolve? Torterra. It's just Torterra with D&D.
The name does not give that at all.
No.
No. Bad name.
I mean Rock Boy would be way better.
Zartan, Living Mountain.
Yeah,
Living Mountain
maybe
makes much more sense. It tells you what it is.
Yeah. I think they are these elementals. Yeah, there's the Leviathan, there's the Phoenix, and then there's like a Storm Tempest thing. But they all make more sense. Zartan, I don't know what Zartan's from. But there we go.
I know.
I guess we'll leave it there. Thank you all for watching. And it's a bit different. And I had fun doing it. And main reason as well is, speaking of systems and writing systems and skill trees, I'm doing too much. And I want to take a bit of a step back and just do something a little different, a little easier in terms of editing and writing. So just want to do something fun. And we'll see how it does, we'll see if you enjoy it. But it's been lovely just drawing and answering some of your questions, doodling some little monsters from memory. But yeah, I guess we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Goodbye.